Okay, this is about preparing you for a community college teaching position, either full-time or part-time. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Ramon Baltazar, who also teaches in the program. He'll be handling quite a bit of the information. We'll go through the slideshow. We'll talk about the information that we present in the courses, and then we'll kind of transition into a little question and answer period. And then we have a guest from Cerritos College, Dr. VCR. Let me introduce her, and then we'll have some information from her on Cerritos College. Any questions before we start? Okay. Let me see if the slide works.
Yeah, so, yep, there you go.
Here we go. We've never done this before in this format, so you're our test group. This certificate consists of 3 courses. GED 549, which is the community college, and we'll get to the book in just a second. GED 548, and I don't know why they're numbered in reverse order, because we would prefer that you take the community college course prior to taking the effective teaching course. And then the capstone course is GED 594, which is the teaching internship. That's where you place yourself at a community college, and we give you credit for that. And hopefully through that process, you'll be able to network with the individuals at that school and hopefully get a teaching assignment. All right, here we go. So how do you get into the program? Now remember, our goal on the other end is to get you in a community college classroom with a mentor teacher so that you become qualified as a community college instructor. Now you'll be competing with everybody else who applies for a teaching position, but you'll have the advantage that you spent the semester bonding with that instructor in that course. And hopefully you'll make a good impression and therefore be looked upon when the hiring process starts every spring. Now, to get into the program, you at least have to have a master's degree. This is a postgraduate program. Or completing a master's degree. How many of you already have your master's degree? Oh, good. How many have more than a master's? I know you do. Yeah, several of you. Okay, good. How many of you are just completing a master's? Now, here's the problem. There is a problem. Master's degree is a lot of work. We found that folk who are still, on the hook for that master's degree have a hard time keeping up with the assignments in our postgraduate certificate program. So that's a caveat. We don't want you to kill yourselves. Not yet, anyway. Okay, so that's a joke. Or be currently employed as a community college instructor. Now, the good news is that the 2 units, postgraduate units, 3 units, and 3 units all count for salary advancement in the LA Community College District system. So you're moving yourself up to a higher pay grade by completing the certificate. Now, the community college course, and I'm going to let my colleague, Mr. Baltazar here, he teaches this course in the classroom. I teach it online. In fact, we've got a course in this starting on Tuesday. How many of you are in that course already on Tuesday? Have you registered? Okay. And stick around afterwards. I want to show you how Blackboard works if you're already registered in that course. And you'll be able to hit the ground running. Let me give it to Mr. Baltazar.
So we're going to teach Mike.
That's very deep.
So it's very hard to just interrupt now the speaker because we used to do that. We used to just team up and answer questions and present, but now we have to transfer mics. So just in case, my name is Professor Ramon Baltazar. I will be your instructor for GED 549, the community college. Now, this coming spring, Dr. McGinnis is going to be your instructor. I will be the instructor in the fall. Okay, so we'll start off with GED 549, which is the community college. What we want to do is give you a little more background on where you want to go. Okay, so the first thing I want to introduce to you in this course is the institution. Many of you probably don't even know how to find the jobs, the teaching jobs, the counseling jobs, or even the admin jobs in the system. Well, I will try and teach you just from most of the time, just openings in the internet. If you are registered under the Chancellor's Office for Community College Teaching, you can do that too. There's also many other places, like for example, the schedules and the catalogs are one of those keys where you can find the openings. But when you do find the opening, how do you apply? Okay. Now, that's just one step. After you find out all the openings, how do you navigate the system? The community college, like any other institution, is a bureaucracy. So you have to make sure you know how to navigate, maybe even the personnel, etc., the system itself, how to read the schedule, you know. And then after you have a little background on the institution, we want to teach you and identify most of the time who your target is, which is the students. They're the ones that you need to be able to serve, and really you're just using the institution to serve the students. And then to be able to serve them, we need to teach you how to put together syllabi, curriculums, your courses, anything associated with activities in the classroom itself. And then lastly, we need to teach you a little bit about you yourself, because being the instructor, you are really the face of the institution. Okay? Now, over the 4 weeks, 4 meetings, I also have to work with you on your submissions, which is, number one, we're going to work on your resume, your CV. Even before you complete the community college, okay, this course, we're going to start looking at possibilities for you already, which is making sure you have the right resume, okay, cover letters, okay, and all the things that go with it, because you do need to maybe learn a new language, the language of academics. And then over time, we're going to look for actual openings. We'll do exercises and openings. So that's the practical side. The other part of this is I have an exercise for you also. We will call it the first day of class. I will start practicing you up front of here. Every time we meet, you're going to try and put together a short lecture mimicking what your first day of class will be. Okay? Because that's the breaker. You're going to intern, you may get your first class, people will sit in, but if you can't convince them to stay or enroll in your class, you won't have a second class. Okay? So we're going to work on your skills of presentation, of being able to answer questions, of how to get through that textbook, okay, that you need to be able to be pseudo an expert on, but not really, okay? You don't need to memorize the whole textbook yet. So maybe a quick read is one of those first things I'm going to ask you is, if you already have chosen a course that you're going to teach, find an instructor that teaches it in the community college that you would like to teach in, and possibly get his syllabus. Find a textbook and start reading the first 2 or 3 chapters. Most of the time, your interviews are not just going to be a one-on-one, it's going to be committee, and then an audition. Most of the time, they'll lead you into a classroom and they'll say, here's a real classroom, strut your stuff, okay? So we're going to practice that. All right, so that is the first 4 weeks. I know it's a lot of material to cover, but I'm sure you'll do fine, okay? Now, after you're done with the community college course, following is Dr. McGinnis's course 548, which is teaching tools of teaching or teaching techniques, okay? And hopefully, with what we covered during the first 4 weeks, he's going to drill you and drill you and drill you, give you a little more front experience here, so that you're not going to be jittery, you're going to be composed in presenting your first few classes. All right, with that, Dr. McGinnis.
Thank you, Ramon. Yeah. Good, thank you. Next slide, please. The course that follows on is called GED 548, Effective College Teaching. This is a pedagogy course. What does that mean? Actually, it's andragogy. What does that mean? Yeah, adult learning, teaching adults. How many of you already teach K-12? Oh, good. You know all about classroom management. You know about lesson plans. You know about cheating. You know about classroom discipline. You're good to go. How many of you have never given a lecture in school? Okay, this program is for you. We're going to have you do that real time. This is the book. It was written by Barbara Gross Davis several years ago, probably about 10 years ago. I haven't found one to replace it yet. It's called Tools for Teaching. Barbara Gross Davis, the author, is a chancellor up in Berkeley, someplace up north. I've talked to her on the phone. She doesn't seem to want to write another book. She's making too much money and doesn't have enough time to do it. So I don't know what we're going to do. Anyway, this is the Effective Teaching course. It's 3 units. It lasts 8 weeks. And it's all about working with students in the classroom. Now, the classroom, we approach this course in 4 quadrants. The subject matter, which you have to master, and I'll figure that out right away, whether you have it mastered or not, that you're going to teach. The classroom, the learning environment, the students, and then teaching improvement, how to do that. What good, effective teachers do. So, after you complete, next slide, please. After you complete Ramon's course, the community college, will give you background. Now, don't read that book. See that book over here? The community college. This is written by Art Cohen over at UCLA. He's done about 40 years, probably more than that, about 50 years of research on the community college. This reads like an encyclopedia. Do not read this cover to cover. Do his assignments. Or if you're in the online class, just do my assignments and use this as a resource. However, the book that we use in effective teaching reads like a recipe book. You'll read this front to back. Keep these as resources. Okay, you're teachers now, and you need your own teacher library. So, once you get through our courses, then you move into the internship component of the community college teaching certificate. This is your teaching experience. Now, those of you who teach K-12, this is a little half for you. This won't be a problem. Those of you who are new to teaching, this is like boot camp, where you're out there with the students in the classroom, doing the assignments, doing the lecturing. It's a hand-on experience with your mentor teacher, semester long. We approach it as a semester long job interview. Your job is, before I went into administration and became a dean, vice president, etc., I was in the classroom for a long time, and I would have interns, and they want to sit in the back and watch. The watching time is over. This is where you want to get up front, handle everything for the mentor teacher. You want to show them that you're in charge of the classroom. That's what you want to show. You will be evaluated, performance evaluated by Dr. Sklar. She'll be here in a little bit. She's a worldwide traveler. I don't know. She's got a PhD in mathematics and she goes all over the place. So, well, here she comes now. So this is the internship component of the certificate. Now, you have to complete Ramon's class and my class in order for Dr. Sklar to allow you to register for the GED 594. It's called independent study. You will give her all your paperwork, she'll review it, and then approve it. Do you all have schematics of this process? Do we have a handout in your hand? Okay, so what happens is you go through this whole process, do your semester-long internship, she evaluates you, and then you're awarded your certificate. Now, this is a certificate of preparation. This is not a credential. It's not a degree. We are not an employment agency. We are an educational institution. In fact, we're a postgraduate educational institution. We're getting you ready. We're giving you the skills. So when you get down there at your community college location, you've got a much better background and a much better preparation than those other individuals that are competing for that same position. All right. Now, Dr. Sklar, come up here. I want to introduce you. This is Dr. Martha Sklar.
Hello. Sorry I'm late, but
you want to take over and
talk about what's required.
Talk about the internship, and then we'll talk about what's required to get into the program.
Okay.
Wait a minute. We have microphones
Oh,
today.
we have microphones.
Yeah, and they clip on. So clip this up here on your, or you can hold it. There you go. Perfect. And I don't know what you do with that. Do you need the pointer?
No.
Okay. Dr. Sklar.
Hi, sorry I'm late, but Dr. Dominguez knew that I was coming about 1:15, so I think I'm on time, right? According to mine. I want to really emphasize something that many students don't realize they have to do for the internship. You really have to start 3 to 4 months before the semester where you're going to intern. So that the students who are going to start their internship this spring, which starts, depending on the school, the end of January, beginning of February, had a deadline of submitting their paperwork to me in November. And that seems very far away, and they procrastinated, don't do it. And then I sent an email to Dr. McGinnis. I said, what's the matter with your students? They haven't done their work. And what happens is you have to allow for the time it takes to meet with a prospective mentor. You have to allow for the time when faculty are not on campus, like during the winter break or the winter intersession. So if you don't, like for this past group, if you don't contact someone by the beginning of December or the end of November, you may not be able to get a hold of that person. And you are limited in terms of where you go by where you live or where you work, or how many sections of that class are available, or are they available at the time that you can go, because you may be working full time and can only do an evening class. So please, when you've been in college, you've had jobs, you know what a deadline is. Now, I'm a softie, so if you want to turn it in late and take your chances, I go ahead and do it. I feel pressured because then I have to get all that paperwork done. There's a lot of paperwork I do once you have found your internship. Is that clear? Because I'm going through that right now with a couple people, that's why. And you know, there are little snags that occur as well. So what happens is there will be a posting on Dr. McGinnis's class with the application. The application is the same every year. I just changed the due dates.
And my class, don't forget that. The first class is 5:49.
Yes.
I'm already going to start them off.
Okay. The application basically, you know, you fill out your name, address, all that kind of stuff, and you're asked for 4 items. One is either a transcript showing your master's degree or a copy of your master's. Doesn't matter, doesn't have to be official. I just need to know that you have that. That's for most people. There are some disciplines that don't require a master's. Those are more in the voc ed area. Then you're asked for a philosophy statement. Part of that you're developing while you're in 549 and 548, which is philosophy of teaching at the community college level, the kind of students that go to a community college, etc. And the third thing is I asked for 2 letters of reference. They should be pretty recent. It could be from an employer. It's just basically a character reference. Now, you don't have to submit all the paperwork all at once. The application and the transcript and your philosophy statement should come. Sometimes it takes time for the letters of reference to get to you or to me. That I understand. Is that clear? Okay, that's the application process. Now, while you're doing the application, it is a sequential, it's concurrent. You are looking at where you would like to enter. Again, where you work, where you live, what's available, all come into finding that matchup. I give you a list of places where we've had interest for the last 15 years, which gives you a little entity. You had somebody here in the fall of 2016, maybe in a different discipline, etc. I have it, it's an Excel spreadsheet. I have it sorted by discipline, because I think that's the way you want to look at it. You can then rearrange it and sort it, or ask me, I already have it sorted, by community college as well. So if you're looking at Long Beach, you can see where we've had interns at Long Beach City College, or if you're looking at Citrus, or you're looking at Rio Hondo. I'm just doing some paperwork for Rio. Once you have found that match, someone who's willing to take you on and have that information, then I ask you for some information. I need to know the full name, first and last name, if they have a doctor in front or whatever, of the mentor teacher. I need the full name of the administrator. Be very careful. An administrator is not the department chair. The department chair is usually a faculty member. I need an administrator, somebody that has administrative responsibility in a college. And usually it's either a dean or a division dean. You can find that out from your mentor teacher, or you can go online and find it yourself for that community college. I need their email addresses because I send everything electronically now. And I need the name and the number of your class. It could be English 101 or Math 125, whatever that is. And you'll have that from that situation. Once I have that information, I prepare the paperwork. I send you a letter and some forms to sign, which is a letter of agreement. It's your contract between you and CSUDH. It has nothing to do with where you're interning. It's the same no matter where. You agree to do so many hours, 45 usually. There are 2 assignments that are due, the dates and information is given there. And the fact that you're responsible for making sure all the documentation that has to come from the community college right there has been sent. I will remind you if I haven't received it. And any evaluation from you and your mentor, a written evaluation. If you're at a community college that's within reasonable driving distance, usually about 20-25 miles from here, I will arrange with you to come to observe you. If you're In Fresno, I'm not coming. Okay, they're not gonna pay for me. Anyway, that's the gist of what I do. If there are problems, you write me, and we try to straighten them out. Some people, I never have to remind about anything, the assignments, in on time, even early, everything is done, everything goes smooth. I want to tell you that for the most part, the response that I get from the manager teachers are that they really appreciate having an intern in their class. One is that you help them out in some ways, that it's an extra adult, especially if you have little groups working, that's someone else walking around. And two, I think because you're learning different things and you're watching how somebody else does it, you might do another way, you have questions. And I remember many a time I've come to observe a student, and at the end, the instructor will say to me, it was so beneficial to me because I had to stop when the student asked a question. I had to stop and think why I do what I do. So in a way, it's a refresher for them in terms of what they do. And that's basically it. I ask you, and I think you will know that at the end that you either write or in some way express your appreciation for their time, because they don't, this is something they do professionally, they don't get paid, and there's no honorarium for them. So you're asking them to do a very special thing. And I think for 99% of the time, it works out well. And I think I covered everything. Now, yes, then what happens if, once you have all your stuff in, the deadlines are early enough so that I have time to get my grades in on time. When I submit my grades, I always have them write an email to all the students, your grade has been submitted. Give them 24 hours, and then you can go online and apply for your certificate. If for some reason something doesn't get in on time, I give a letter of what they call RP. It's not an incomplete, it's called report in progress. It means I'm waiting for something. And then once that's completed, then I go in and change it to a letter grade. It's easy, but it takes timing, it takes planning, like anything else in your life. You have to meet certain deadlines. And that's it.
Good.
Anything else?
She'll hang around for questions and answers after the presentation. Let me have the microphone and we'll get the show back on the road. So, our objective is to get you a job, get you prepared for a job for community college teaching. We're not an employment agency. The question is, are you qualified for community college teaching?
Let's ask one more question, real quick. You need to have a master's degree in the subject matter that you're going to be teaching in. That's a requirement. Because a lot of people usually end up maybe asking, I have a master's in sociology and I teach business. Okay. Now, there is a web page we might show you later on that will have like an equivalency of what you need to be able to get into teaching a certain subject matter. Now, to follow up, I know our community college teaching program requires that you teach something in an academic course that has a master's degree, but I'll give you an exception. One, there are things in community college that you can teach that does not have a master's degree, especially items or courses that pertain to career technical education. Without me, supposing you do have expertise, you have a certificate and experience, there are courses in community college that you can teach, again, we'll have to go item by item, that does not meet a master's degree, because there is none, okay? So that might be one of the only exceptions that you can have for that. Okay. Good.
We'll get into that on an individual basis just as soon as we get through the presentation. Right now, let's look at what's required. Whoops, wait a minute. What am I doing wrong? Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. Criminal background check. This is done by fingerprint live scan. Have any of UK 12 instructors have already done this? You're good to go. In fact, you're good on the health test. What's the health test? Tuberculosis, TB. Okay, so you have to go through the criminal background check and the health screening. Now, the criminal background check, there are 3 or 4 statutes that if you've been convicted is the key word, of any one of those, you're ineligible. Things like violent crimes, drug crimes, sex crimes, those kind of things. Traffic tickets, and I actually don't think restraining orders are on that list, for those of you who are crazy. All right, so health screening, TB test. Now you have to do this yourself before you get hired by the district. After the district hires you, they'll do it for free every 3 years. Health screening. Employment eligibility, this is just to make sure that you have a social security card, etc. The district will take care of this. Now, Ramon was talking about the minimum educational requirements that we call in education speak the MQs. Let's go to the MQs. They were established by the state of California, determines the subject that you can teach. And the key is, what is the word printed on your master's degree diploma? Not what you think you majored in, not what you say you majored in, not what all your courses are in, what's printed on your diploma. For example, at the University of Colorado in Boulder, I'm a finance major. You know what it says on my degree? Business administration. I'm a stockbroker. Business administration. Okay, so what is printed on your master's degree? You got an MBA from Loyola, so I'm good to go for all business courses. Let's go to how you find out what you can teach. Now, how many of you are mathematics instructors? No math? Oh boy, we're in trouble. English, communication, reading, poetry, the classics. Just one? Was that you or you're pointing? No English. See, the problem is, the sad part is, if you've got a degree in reading, you can get hired at any community college anywhere, anytime, because they don't have enough reading teachers. In fact, you could probably get 3 or 4 full-time jobs, make buku, as they say. So, no math, no English, no reading. I know I've got at least one chemistry, right? Any other chemistry? So the whole, you're the only one. Business? 1 or 2, okay, 3, 4, you're good to go. Kinesiology, I know I got one gentleman in kinesiology, so he's good to go, no competition. Oh dear, help me out here, what are you going to teach? Nursing. Oh, nursing, how many of you are nursing majors? Now here's the key, well, the only one. To teach nursing at a community college, so you have to have a master's in nursing. Now, Dominguez offers a fantastic master's in nursing. Even though a nursing degree to be an RN is only a 2-year degree. Yeah, it's be good. Where's the bulk of everybody? What are you going to do? Education. Oh, wait. Okay, wait. Ramon's going to take over with education and counseling.
All right. One of those things that you probably are mistaken sometimes is to try and equate the 2-year college with a 4-year college. The 2-year college does not offer education. Okay. Maybe childhood development, if that's the case, but not education. That would be something in a higher level of a 4-year college.
We'll do that next. We'll go right in.
Most of the courses that you'll be encountering or teaching in a 2-year college would be the introduction to this or the introduction to that. They're not the higher level ones. And in most cases, if you are in liberal arts or general ed, you might fit into that, programs that have a lot of general ed degrees, but certainly education is not one of those. you probably are better off looking at the four-year college for a teaching position. So again, maybe when we go to the community college course, we're going to define the different levels of education in the United States. And then also, maybe I may even have a suggestion for you. I know we're all talking about community college teaching, but there are also possibilities in the private sector, in the private educational institutions out there. So maybe later on, we can go through the details of that. But maybe what I'd like to do, first of all, is maybe we need to really define what you can teach in a community college. Okay, here's what I'll try and ask you to do. Get a catalog of the community college that you want to teach in, and find a specific course that you would like to teach. Okay. Professor, I have a brand new course I want to teach. Put on the brakes first, because to put something together for a new course may not be at your level at this point. When you get to maybe 3, 4, 5, maybe even a tenured level already, you're full-time, then maybe you have the ability to do that, but not when you're first starting out. It's kind of hard, okay? All right. Minimum qualifications?
Handbook.
The handbook, okay? There is a handbook on the...
This is live online now.
It's on the internet. It's the California Community College Chancellor's Office. Okay, so you'll be able to find it there. And it has a list of all the courses that are taught in community college, and then its equivalent of what is required. So can we put it on that page?
Now, we want to handle each of you that has a question. Now, if you've got a pure degree, like she's got a PhD in chemistry and biology and physics and voodoo type stuff, then you're good to go. But if you've got one of those degrees that's in education, public administration, urban planning, issues that we don't offer at the community college level, then we need to look up what is printed on your master's diploma and see what that will plug into. And if it won't, then what alternatives do you have? Now, I've explained some alternatives to several individuals, and we'll go into that. I can go into that on an individual detail after the presentation. But for right now, we'll take a few questions. If you've got a question on what you can qualify to teach. Yes, ma'am, back there. What do you want to teach?
Can I teach sociology classes?
She wants to teach sociology with a master's in educational counseling. So let's go to, let's say we'll go.
Well, Dr. McGinnis is looking for that. I'm going to make a suggestion. Probably your entry point is counseling.
I'm trying for that too, but I'm a teacher right now.
And the first probably avenues for you is usually it's the, whether it's the library service or the information technology, where you could probably be in the tutoring programs. So that's probably an avenue of entry for you. Because counseling itself is not being taught in community college.
Teach counseling, but can counseling teach sociology classes?
At this point, I'll say probably no. Okay. I'm always one of those that always says exception. Okay.
So here's what the minimum qualifications handbook says. To teach sociology, you have to have a master's in social or bachelor's in social and master's in anthro, any ethnic studies, social work, psych, or the equivalent to that. So you've kind of got several options available to you to meet the minimum qualifications. Anyone else?
My bachelor's in human services,
Child, did I hear the word child in there?
Yeah, that's why.
Okay, well, you know where we're going to go with that. Do you want to teach child development or ECE, early childhood education? You do? You would? No.
I'm just looking at my options. I haven't made a decision, but now I see.
Okay. Defense.
Child development.
Child development. Okay, we got one for.
It's alphabetical. So we'll go, I'll use the scroll.
fees.
We usually, with the K-12 level, we get a lot of child development.
Now, let me pause here for counseling, for those of you. Now, we are a community college, what's the T for? Teaching certificate. We are not preparing counselors, unfortunately. But we can prepare counselors to teach the counseling course they usually offer at the community college, which is usually, it's called a variety of things: freshman experience, first year experience, life experience, career planning, something like that. But counselors are counselors and teachers are teachers. And the unions don't like them to cross. So just be aware of that. You can get one course, and you won't get a full-time job teaching counseling courses. But to be a counselor, you need to have a master's in counseling, etc. You can look this up on your own computer at home. Next question. Down
Child
over there.
development. You just go back to child development.
Child development? Oh, child development.
Here we
Right
go.
there. So, Masters in Child Development, Early Childhood Education, Human Development, Home Economics, Family, FCS, Family and Consumer Studies, Bachelor's in any of these, and a Master's, etc. You can look that up too. But if you've got a degree in public administration, it's not going to work for child development. Yes, sir. Back here. Yeah, go ahead. A Juris Doctorate is good for teaching any law degree, business law, etc. Yeah, that's good to go. Over here, we skipped you. Public administration. Public administration. Now, the problem with public administration is it's a university 4-year degree in terms of what you can use the course for. We don't do that at the community college. We are a transfer program at the community. We transfer you over to the Cal State so you can get the degree in public administration. And the public administration faculty want to be able to teach all of those courses themselves. So the answer is it's really scarce to find a community college course in public administration. They want you to have, basic English, basic math, this. Now, do you teach it at Cerritos?
Yes, okay. If you have a public administration degree, you may be able to teach in the political science department. Okay, so that's why I'm here.
Good. These are our two guests. They're going to present at the end of our presentation in about 10 minutes. Good. That's great. There's one over here.
In the physical sciences, chemistry, physics, it says master's or equivalent. What would the equivalent be?
Well, see, go to what area? Chemistry? Chemistry. The only thing for me harder than calculus is chemistry. Now, to teach chemistry courses at a community college, you have to have a master's in chemistry, bachelor's in chemistry or biochemistry, or and not only that, and a master's in biochemistry, chemical engineering, chemical physics, molecular biology, geochemistry, or the equivalent. Now, if you're smart enough to do that, you're going to be rich, is all I can think. Can any of you do that? No, I can't either. Now, my granddaughter is a geophysics major at Berkeley. And I don't understand a word she says, I'll tell you that. Okay. So just be aware, this is the movie stuff up here.
Roger,
Yes, ma'am.
when it says or the equivalent, that's determined by a discipline committee at that community college district. So there are or the equivalent leaves space, but you really need to be at least in the ballpark.
Exactly. Now, I talked to a gentleman who's got a bachelor's in kinesiology or PE and a master's in something. And with them already having a master's, you might be able to meet the equivalence by just taking 12 or 15 additional graduate units in the subject area that you don't have a master's in. Does that make sense? Okay, that's a good strategy. Plus, those units will count towards your salary placement. Yes, sir.
How about MBA on management?
MBA is good for management. I can tell you that right now. I have an MBA. I teach management everywhere. But yes, we have one here. Then all over the place.
If you just say Master of Science, then can I teach any physics or math?
Master of Science in what
Yeah,
subject
what
matter?
subject?
It just say science.
It's kind of-
Masters of Science in what?
See, the sciences, we break them down in disciplines in the course. Geology, chemistry, what else is the science? Physics, like that.
Engineer.
Yeah, I think I need to look at that. Okay.
Yeah, you need to look
Look
at it.
at what it says.
I have a master's in negotiation and conflict resolution
And a bachelor's in,
political science, a minor in public administration.
let's look at political science. How many of you are political science? Couple? Usually I have them bunched, English, math, business. Okay, political science. Here's political science. Master's in poli-sci, government, international relations, or a bachelor's and a master's in econ, history, public, and didn't you say, who asked me, the public administration? There you go. If you have a bachelor's in any of these. To give you the.
Hey, I'm gonna try and qualify something. When you are applying, well, let's look at two different positions. The adjunct position, which is like contract, temporary, and also the full-time tenure position that you're going for. The adjunct positions are, I wouldn't say a little more lenient, but they're really up to the discretion of the department chair or the program manager when it says equivalent. When you go to the tenured full-time track, okay, those are determined most of the time by the academic senate, academic committees of each community college. Okay, and then it varies also depending whether you're a full district school, which means you're made out of maybe several schools and you have to go through a district, or you're a standalone college. There's a lot of difference and variation too, but in general, the adjunct positions may be a lot leaner because now 1-2 persons are trying to determine whether you're qualified versus a full-time tenured track position. It's kind of a big budgeted position, so they qualify by committee already. Okay, so maybe I better get that in mind. So don't be discouraged just because you don't fall within some of these lines. They just, oh no, I'm giving you something. Okay, there's always sometimes an exception.
We have some questions that have been emailed into us. Let me do a quick little survey. How many of you are after part-time positions? So you have a full-time job. Oh, good. That'll make it so much easier. How many of you are full-time straight ahead? What's your discipline?
I'm finishing my master's in film and television studies.
There's only one course, one college. I don't know if Cerritos does or not, but there's only one college, community college in the LA district that does that.
It's
LA Valley,
No,
where
LA
Tom
City.
Selleck graduated.
LA City.
The city do too?
Yeah, they have a whole film team.
Long Beach has a film.
Okay, Long Beach City, I'm familiar with, I was a team there for a while, so.
I know a lot of the ones in Orange County do as well.
Okay, good, good. Here's the first question. William Mercado, how intense is the program? And 2, intro to lecture courses. I'm not sure I understand this.
Oh, how intense are the GED 548 and
549? They're intense. They're very intense. He covers this book in 4 weeks, and I cover this one in 8, plus a curriculum development term paper, plus a teaching practicum inside the course. Okay, so we do a lot of work. What if my master's is in public administration? Can you go to sociology? Please, Anita. Sociology, master's in Soc, bachelor's, master's in ethnic studies. So public administration, where it would work over here, doesn't work here. So you have to really check this out before you get too far downstream and get disappointed. Does the class you chose to intern have to be a class you've taken before? Not necessarily, but it's got to meet the minimum qualifications. Otherwise, you shouldn't be interning in that class, because the whole purpose of the internship is to do a semester-long job interview and get your foot in the door. That's right. So, I have a master in education, multicultural focus. What can I teach? Whew. Multicultural. Look up ethnic studies.
Multicultural education.
Look up ethnic studies.
I think ethnic studies might be a little more appropriate.
There we go.
Not in terms of fit and being able to qualify. Ethnic studies, masters in American studies, ethnicity, Latino, La Raza, Central America, or the equivalent. So, multicultural might be the equivalent. The district where this person would send their transcript would make that decision. I'm a psych major. What can I do? What's the answer? Psychology. And I have a bachelor's in applied business and an AA in business. Stick with something. Okay. What can I teach with an MPA? Now, what is an MPA? Public administration. Now, we've been over this public administration thing a lot. Usually, what are public administrators? They work for the city, the county, the government. Last semester, I had a young lady in here who's the treasurer of the city of Carson. She's a public administrator. She wants to teach real estate or something. Anyway, so the answer is, we'd have to look at the bachelor and put those together like we did for you and see what you qualify for in the back of the room.
So I have an MBA, and then I have a bachelor's in business administration. Would I be able to teach business?
MPA and business.
I'm pretty sure you can.
What's your major in business? Where were you?
Administration and option and management.
Management course.
Probably management. Okay. What were we going to do?
Oh, that was it.
Any questions before we have our guest speakers come up? Yes, sir.
If we are already teaching a course as an adjunct, are we able to count that towards the internship?
The answer is yes.
As
But
long
you have to
as
pay the tuition.
you have to do all the work that's required.
Yeah, she'll get with you on the documentation of the work.
And the department chair has to be willing to evaluate you, which is not a problem, because you usually get
Yeah,
evaluated.
you'll be evaluated by your department chair. Yes, ma'am, you had one?
Yeah, I have a question. What would you need to teach in like the tutorial labs? I have a BA in art, a Master of Science in Educational Leadership. I'm a principal at a school. I want to retire. I know these kids need help with English and math, basic. And at the community college level, the professors want to be able to start them with the algebra. But if they can't even do that, what would I need to do to be able to qualify to be a teacher, to teach those kids who have the lower skills that want to go to college and take advantage of this?
All right. Now,
That's what I'm trying to do.
are you thinking about basic skills, reading and writing?
Yes.
Okay. The kind of people that we look for usually have English major, math majors, but most of the time, we have a program now at North Orange County called LIVESTREAM. We're now integrating content and ESL together. The co-teacher I have has a linguistics degree, okay? But I don't think you need to get that far. If you are a major, you have a major in English, that's good enough. Because what he does basically is, I get the content, he checks the spelling and the grammar, okay? So you tell me, do you really need a doctorate in English to be able to do it? No. Okay. Master's degree is good. Okay. Communication, very, very much so. If your writing skills, are needed then. Yeah. But tutorial especially now, if you're going to be working for the computer labs, doing tutoring, how computer skills are, normally we have you with a background for computer automation and office automation kind of thing. So those are the background things you should have. Word, Excel, Microsoft Office, etc.
Does any of the courses that we take for the teaching certificate touch on teachers becoming online?
Yes. He will do that and I will do that because part of one of the days we're going to be focusing on is actually the curriculum and the teaching techniques before you even get to Dr. McGinnis. Part of it is teaching online. And I will demo you and have you maybe, if any of you are good at computers, maybe demo you on things like Blackboard or Canvas or eTools or Moodle, stuff like that. So it's partly practice. And I promise you, if you master one, you can work the other ones. It's just varying degrees.
Can I add on to that? Our on-campus IT instructional team also has free tutorials for using Blackboard, in case anybody is privy to that.
Question over there. One more. Now, may I qualify this? When you are going to be teaching online, the college that you will be teaching in requires you to be certified in any of those software LMS. Now, most of the colleges during the summer or maybe winter before you actually become an adjunct or a professor at that school, they're going to have a lot of what we call flex time for teaching instruction on teachers. They offer it to you online. Okay. Now, I'll give you a secret. I learned more of Canvas on YouTube than I did with any of the seminars that they have. It's just a matter of just working it and then finding specific details because it's about a 10 module course. Focus on the stuff that you're using first. Okay.
Now, one follow-up question to that, or point of information. You will have to have a certificate, as Ramon said, in the course management software. They won't let you take that until you've had several years in the classroom. In other words, you're not going to be what some have referred to as a newly minted online distance ed instructor. You got to have real classroom experience, pedagogy, several years of that before they'll let you get your distance ed certificate. Does that make sense? All right. Now, most of you are part-time instructors. We need to talk about the application process and the registry at the state level. I left that off the.
Well, let me say that GED 549, I will be covering the application process.
Okay, take 549, you'll get that information. Now, if you're going into my course, which is online 549 right away, starts Tuesday, stick around afterwards. I'll pull up Blackboard and I'll show you how to navigate the course assignment if you don't know how to do it. If you already know how to do it, never mind.
One quick question, back to the distance ed certificate. You were saying that we need to have real classroom experience before they allow us to have this.
No. I think what he meant was, you can take the certificate, but your chair or the program manager will not assign a class to you to teach online because they need you to prove yourself in the classroom first.
At the college level.
You need to know about registration, drop rosters, grade rosters, submitting all that stuff before you jump into the online stuff. Any more questions before we have Cerritos College representatives? Okay, one more in the back and then we'll go to Cerritos. Yeah.
Are the classes scheduled as you make? So I guess less school is working day hours.
Our classes, they're all online.
Okay.
Oh, in the fall,
2 to 7.
Saturday evening. Saturday. So you can still get a football game Saturday morning, which is what I love. Okay. This is Dr. VCR, and she'll introduce you to the gentleman. Come on up, doctor. Over here. Take it away. We'll have another Q&A afterwards, after our guest speakers.
It's here. Hold on just a second. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. My
My name is Valencia Rafael, and I work at Cerritos College, and I'm joined today with Dr. Sente Obazue. He teaches in our political science department at Cerritos College. By show of hands, how many of you are aware where Cerritos College is? Oh, yes, all of you. Okay, great. How many of you attended Cerritos College? Oh, okay, great. Oh, Falcon. How many of you have a family member, a sister, a titi, a nina, grandkids, granddaughters, someone affiliated with you that attended Cerritos College? That is excellent. Okay, so we're amongst friends and family. So I work in HR. I'm the Director of Diversity, Compliance, and Title IX Coordinator. And one of my roles is to make sure that we are hiring people that look like our students, in addition to people that are qualified to teach our students, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a few things with our TA program. So many of you have an internship placement, and we want you to consider Cerritos as a place where you will get that experience. So here are a few things that we're going to.
You should be able to. You should be able to. Okay.
Okay, great. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Cerritos College. I'm going to do that quickly because I want to focus on the TA program perks, and I would like Dr. Obazue to talk about his experience because he has been on the pathway that many of you are on, and he's teaching full time now. So I'm going to start off by talking about Cerritos College. So on this slide, I have our mission statement, and I also have our demographics. So you can see that we are a very diverse college. We are considered an HSI, Hispanic Serving Institution, and you can see that we have 70% Latinx students, and we have a wide variety of other students on our campus as well. So being a minority majority campus, much like our state, we want to make sure that our faculty and all of our employees represent the diversity of our students. So with our mission statement, as you read through it, I'd like to highlight that we value, a very first sentence, we value our diverse student body. So diversity, equity, inclusion is very important to us and people who work at our campus. You'll also see that we serve the whole student. We are looking at students and their ability to achieve their personal, educational, and career goals. So students do not leave their lives at the door when they're in the classroom. We want to make sure that we're serving the whole student. So as I mentioned, Cerritos College, we're in the Norwalk-Cerritos area. And for those of you who are already teaching and you're on the freeway, we're very convenient because we're by the 605, the 91, the 5, and 105. So we're right on the border of LA and Orange County. We were founded in 1955, so we're relatively young, but we've got a lot of work to do because we're serving a lot of students, over 20,000 students, in person and online. And what we're looking for are people that are equity-minded. And by equity-minded, I mean that they're race-conscious, that they consume and apply data in their teaching practices, and they are system-focused, which means that we're not saying, students, you're not prepared, but we're looking at barriers, how they manifest in the classroom, outside the classroom, and how to remove them. So that can be very overwhelming if you haven't had a lot of training in equity-minded teaching practices, but I'll share how our TA program can prepare you and supplement a lot of the material that you're going to be learning in this program here. So where does the TA program lie? So we have many areas on our campus, and up what's highlighted here is the Vice President of Academic Affairs area. And within that are several disciplines. So I heard there are an array of disciplines represented in this room. So I'll give you a moment to take a look to see if your area is highlighted. And after you take a closer glance at the equivalency document, you can start to target and pinpoint where you may fit with Cerritos, and you can start that alignment so that way in your courses, as you're trying to navigate, okay, when I apply to Cerritos, when, not if, when I apply to Cerritos, where can I start to focus? So looking at the pathway, how many of you aspire to be in administration at some point? Okay, a couple of you, all right, or one person. But how many of you want to teach full time? Okay, quite a few of you. How about part time? Okay, perfect. So you can see, we've gone through grad school. Our TA program will help you navigate to part-time and full-time teaching. Now a little bit about our TA program. We passed out a flyer, so I'm just going to hit the highlights here. The TA program is going to start accepting applications mid-February. So as was mentioned earlier, you do have to start early. We're going to take those applications, review, and see with whom we can match you. And then over the summer, around June, we're gonna have a summer institute as a refresher, and then the placements will start in the fall. And during the fall, we'll have additional workshops. So we wanna make sure that we're supporting and giving that additional professional development. I heard folks talking about accessibility, online teaching. Those are some additional skills that can be added as a benefit to being in our TA program. And the idea is, as a TA, you're gonna get that hands-on experience that is aligned with the internship that you have to take anyway. We have an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, or a contract with CSUDH, so that way the students in this program can be placed with us. So like I said, I do want to spend the balance of our time talking about the pathway that Dr. Sunday Obazwe had to our campus. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to him.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sunday Obazwe, and when we started talking about activating our teaching assistant program, I didn't realize how much the program helped me. Okay. Now, my question to you before I tell you about myself and how I got into Cerritos College is it appears that many of you are already teachers, right? Why do you want to teach at the community college level? Yes, ma'am.
I think for me, because it's more flexible, you can choose, you have more flexibility in the schedule, and I teach too.
Flexibility,
Yes.
okay. The same reason that many students take online classes, it's flexible. Any other? Yes, sir.
In education, many of our students take community college, so just transferring that information from our experience and helping the students continue to be successful.
When you say in education, what?
Meaning at K-12
K-12,
education, many of our students graduate from high school and go on to community college, so helping them forward with that understanding. So I have a relationship already with not specific students, but they're kind of understanding what they want to do.
Okay. What school district?
I'm at Mona Unified School District in Inland Empire.
Yes.
I work with students with learning disabilities, and many of them start at the community college level. So I'd like to transfer to support those students so they can receive services.
All right. So I asked that question because I want to clarify that the community college is not an inferior college level. Many people see community college as inferior. It's just a community college. It's just a junior college. Community college teach 100 level, 200 level courses, so that students don't have to take those classes at the CSU or UC or any private university expensively. So students are getting bargain quality education for relatively less expense. Okay. I'm a graduate of Claremont Graduate University. How many of you have heard of Claremont Graduate University? It's the only graduate university in the country. So when I applied to the school, they promised research assistant opportunity, teaching assistant opportunity. So by the time I completed my coursework, almost completing my coursework, I went to one of my teachers. I said, where is the ROA opportunity? Where is the TA opportunity? Because they were very, very, very few, very rare, unless if you are in statistics or quantitative analysis, which I was not. So I was studying public administration, I was studying political science. So he said, well, what some of your colleagues do, they go to the CSU or community college campuses to find opportunity. I said, wow. So it's like the light bulb went off in my head. So from that moment on, I started looking. That at the time it was newsletter boards, poster boards on campus, not online at the time. This was in 1997. So I started looking around campus, and I think that same week or month, I saw on my campus a flyer like this from Cerritos College. They're looking for interns. I saw another one from Chelsea College. They are looking for intern. My prayer was answered. I applied to both and I was accepted. Fall of 1997. I interned at both colleges and I was accepted. By January 1998, I started teaching my own class. Okay. I've also taught at the CSU level. I taught 8 years at Cal Poly Pomona. I enjoy what I do now as Cerritos College. Very diverse community. Okay. And very, very challenging opportunity to help students, to prepare them for transfer. Because as I said earlier, some students that come to community college, they say, it's just a junior college. I said, no, I taught the same class. By the way, I teach American government, I teach comparative politics, I teach international relations, I teach Middle East politics. And at the time I was applying for full-time position, one of my sales points was I will develop a modern United Nations course, which I have done since then, and I've been teaching the course since 2014. And so there's a lot of opportunity to grow if you want to be a full-time teacher. And to conclude, I want to let you know that from this campus, from this program here, we have 3 students of former students that went through this program at my campus, and I was their mentor. Okay, since 2009, 2010. The last one came 2017, 2018, very recently. And so that's why we are here to encourage you, if you are thinking about teaching at community college level, to consider Cerritos College. You will have to compete, though, with other prospective candidates. Okay, so it's not a free ride. I hope that helps. If you have any specific questions, I will be around to answer your questions. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can you go to the next slide? Oh, yes.
So we have a few minutes for questions, and we'll also just stick around for some questions at the end. I just want to go to the last slide and have that up while we answer questions, because the TA program is not housed in HR, it's housed in another department. So I want you to be aware of who's the contact person. Monique Valencia, who is different from me. So my name's spelled with the Y, and her last name is spelled with the E. So I don't want you emailing me and trying to ask questions. Okay.
For what are the hours that you have to be available for the TA program?
So the question was, what are the hours that you have to be available for the TA program? So it varies. It depends on which course that the mentor is teaching. And so we can be mindful of your availability when matching you and when scheduling the course that you're going to be mentoring with. And then for the Summer Institute, the availability will vary. We're going to poll the attendees, so that way, whatever time that we have will match their availability. Does that answer your question? Other questions? Yes.
Do you take into account any prior experience as non-teaching? Because I've worked at Compton College for 17 years with EOPS and even the Chancellor's office with the leadership project. I never had the opportunity to be a faculty member. Do you take that into consideration when you consider candidates?
So that's a good. So the question is, do you take the prior experience into account when matching? And so it depends. This program is meant to provide an opportunity for people with little to no faculty teaching experience. And so it won't count against you or that you have prior experience at a college. And then because of the faculty match situation, we will take it into consideration in terms of the fit or the match with a mentor. So because you have that experience, having some administrative or even state level experience, that'll just help give us more data on who might be a really good mentor for you.
May I add something?
Sure.
One of the things that the community college teaching certificate does for you is when you hit the TA program, you are expected to hit the ground running. There really is no dedicated person to teach you the specifics. So what we want to do is, before you actually hit being a TA or an intern, is you got down the language, the paperwork, so that a faculty member doesn't have to handhold you making a syllabus or putting together a lesson plan. And that's the thing that happens. You see, many of you probably think that when you hit the community college, there really is somebody that will be teaching you all the details. In my case, I had to find a key to my classroom. Okay, there really is no hand holding. At this level, you are expected to hit the ground running. And maybe, you know, many of you that have grade school teaching opportunities already, you know how class management goes. Sometimes you focus on that to teach the students. So if you are going to be struggling sometimes, you're going to provide, you know, again, some of these TA programs, most of the TA programs, your mentors are not paid. They're doing this as a voluntary thing to do some kind of succession planning for the college. Help them help you by being prepared when you get to that level. Okay, so if you've got the paperwork down, you know the language, that's one thing they have to worry about you. Okay, so maybe that you have been in a university atmosphere, college atmosphere, community college. It helps that you already know the background, really.
Let me add, when in the LA district, now the LA district is 9 campuses. Ramon and I and Martha are from the LA district. Our guests are from Cerritos Community College. In the LA district, your salary is rated in based on a grid that has to do with the number of graduate units you have past the bachelor's degree and the number of years experience that you have. Now, being an old MOSBAC myself and with a doctorate, I'm clear down at the bottom and clear over here with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 career increments. But you'll probably be rated in no lower than the 7th, what they call step. Now, the way that works is you get year for year for teaching, up to 7 years. Industry experience is 2 years experience for 1 year. So if you have 20 years experience, that will count as 10, but you can only be rated in at the 7th step. Does that make sense? And you want to be rated in as fast and low and far as possible, because you can't get ahead. Once they put you in a pot, that's your salary. Yes, ma'am.
So, you said there are 9 community colleges, right? Are those the only ones in Los Angeles County that you guys have an MOU with?
No, we have everything. We have all 116 community colleges. We're all over the place. Hawaii, Canada, you name it. See, I even had a student from Ocracoke Island. Do you know where that is? If you don't know where that is, look it up. Ocracoke. It's over in the, what is it, Hurricane Zone. What was it? There was another question.
Can I add something, Roger? I would suggest, okay, because you are TAing and looking for an opportunity, you are subject to their schedule. You can't choose your own schedule. What I'd like to advise you is always maybe where you live or where you work, put a marker, maybe the first 10 miles, pick a college within 10-mile hitting distance so that it's not inconvenient for you when they say you're gonna be here 8 o'clock on Monday morning. Okay, because that makes it difficult for you to get an internship. It's not at your convenience, it's their convenience. What time the class you get assigned to is held, that's when you show up. Okay, so try and make sure that it's more closer to work or home so that it's not an inconvenience to be a teaching assistant.
Also, you might get an outreach location, like a high school, a boys and girls club. One semester when I started at Trade Tech, I think I had an evening class down in the basement of City Hall. What? Yeah, well, and do you remember when the Rodney King riot happened and they showed that little parking thing burning? That's where I parked my car. I had to get out of there. So never turn down an outreach assignment or an evening assignment.
Or a volunteer assignment.
Because then you will get the most important thing, an employee number. You can't get a paycheck till you get an employee number. Then, once you get in the system, they like to roll you over semester to semester. And, you know, I've been there since a long time. Any more questions? Now, we're almost done. Yes, ma'am.
I just need to clarify, I wasn't listening well. So do I need to go through the program that you teach in order to TA at Cerritos?
No. do they need to go through this program to be in the?
No, so,
Go ahead and come up.
let me, can I stand next to you? 'Cause I have a baby boy. No, you don't. So anyone can apply to the TA program. What the benefit of being in tandem with this program is that you have to get the internship anyway. Because right now, our program is unpaid. And so I know people got bills. Yeah, I know some people guys are like, oh my gosh, yeah. So right now, the program is unpaid. And so the benefit is it's going to be, you'll get that dual benefit of being able to get the certificate in addition to getting the TA, picking up the TA experience on the way. But you do not have to be part of this program to be part of our TA program.
Real quick question for you. So if I'm maybe waiting to plan to start this program here in the fall, could I still do the summer with you and then wait till that next spring semester to do the actual like TA?
That is a good question. We haven't had that before, so let me ask.
Sure.
So after this, let me get your information so I can get back to you.
Thank you.
Other questions about the TA program before I hand the mic back?
Good question. Now, once again, what's the objective of the community college certificate program at Cal State Dominguez? Get you ready for a teaching job. Get your foot in the door. We use our credibility and the power of the university, Cal State University, to do that, the credibility. But you've got to deliver the goods. We can't stick you out there and then nothing.
Can you just go over, you may, maybe in the book, but when does the first class start and like, what are the hours?
Okay, the question is, when does the first class start? What are the hours? We do the classes on a rotating basis. In the fall, Ramon, when does your class start? They're on campus in the
First
fall.
week in September. First week in September.
First week of September, the community college class. Then in the fall, I follow him with effective teaching on Saturday. We're both on Saturday. And it runs October, November through a little bit before Christmas. I think you're on campus 4 Saturdays. I'm on campus 3 or 4. I can't remember which. Now in the spring, starting now, my online schedule for the community college class starts on Tuesday and runs 4 weeks, and it's intense. So you got to hit the ground running. Stay afterwards if you're going to take that class. If you have no experience with Blackboard, and I'll show you how it works. It's a little tricky. After that class runs, then the 549 effective teaching class runs 8 weeks. And then we do the 549 again, and then we do the 548 again, which is in the summer. Then we roll into the fall. But you've got to register and pay the money to get in the course. Okay? Right.
Okay.
Question over here, and then over there. Oh, Martha. Yeah, Dr. Scott.
You will see 594 listed with 548 and 549. You cannot take 594 until you have completed 548 and 549. So that's for the people who completed it the semester before. Is that clear? Okay.
All right.
And
Next
it's
question.
not offered in the summer.
No internship in the summer, no internship online.
Location of, on campus.
What?
No, it's all.
Location of the classes?
On
Next
campus.
door to this room.
Okay.
Yeah, right next door. Park out there, go in there, and make sure you get a parking sticker. Because it's, when I started here at teaching at Dominguez, parking stickers were 50 cents.
I remember.
You go there and have 10 bucks. Yeah, wait, we passed her up. That was your question?
That was my question.
Okay.
Okay, so, tell me for clarification's sake, if you start next, 14th, will you be finished by May, or do you have to go through the summer?
You can take the courses in any sequence. They do not overlap. You can take his course. I would prefer you take the 549 community college course first, and then take the 548 effective teaching course. They're numbered backwards. Why, I don't know. Okay, because a lot of times you have questions about the community college that you ask me in effective teaching that you would have had answered in the community college course and spent more time on pedagogy.
Okay,
Yes.
the reason why I'm asking is because you have the 548 listed in February 18th. Then you
Yeah.
have the 548 again in the summer.
Yeah.
Is
Same course and everything, it repeats.
Okay.
Because some people, see, we take 549 twice, 548 twice. 549, 548, 549, 548, and in the fall we do it again. You get used to it. It's a school calendar. It just rolls over. It just keeps moving.
It just happens that the course ends.
Now, I have a question
in
here.
the next
Still
term,
can
so-
register for a Tuesday class.
Say that again.
Is there still time to register for?
Is there still time to register for
Yes.
Tuesday's class?
They're taking registration.
Shirley, yes, back there.
We can register you here.
They'll register you right there. Right there. Go, you bring your whatever and go there and register. But, okay, stay after. If you're gonna do that and you don't know Blackboard, stay after and I'll show you how it works. Sure. Somebody, there was a question here?
Well, I'm just looking, so we're in the beginning stages and you start next week. You cannot take 594 until you finish 549 and 548.
Correct.
So basically, we wouldn't be able to take that class until fall.
Correct. Dr. Sklar likes you to have 594, the internship class with your mentor teacher in the fall. Okay, she just likes it that way. Any other questions before we dismiss? Now, we'll stay around afterwards for individual Q&A and Blackboard, but the presentation is basically over. Yes, ma'am.
Just a little bit of information. Okay. Those of us that are over 50 and growing hours, your parking permit for the whole year would cost you about $20 or a little bit more.
As opposed to $10 a weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Get this done.
There are still a few questions.
Oh, there's still a few questions.
There's questions online. You're still on and we're still live.
With MBAs and that degree, eligible to teach across all campuses. Great, like, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. When after the special ed, minor, childhood ed, we can teach. They are always looking for special ed instructors. Those are good to go. Those are hard to come to. Look up the MQs in the chancellor's list, MQ booklet.
Yeah, we're still doing it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Gentlemen asked the
Save that one for Dr. Lucio. Absolutely not. When teaching absolutely.
So that's a yes?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, I'm here right now.
Next week,
The ranking in of your salary per hour. The ranking in of your salary per hour. Move you down.
If I do that, then I can apply your yeah. So I can do I can get a certificate this year if I do that.
Okay. Any more questions that need to happen? No, Vladimir. Thank you. Is that it? Okay, everybody.
Just a second. Just a second.
You will give us like how to approach it.
Sure, yeah, the texture gives you.
Any more questions? I got one.
I'm down. All right, you work here. And I've written, yeah, I've written some reports, asked for that. Okay, my friend, thank you very much.
You know what? Try the community college. Try the first course. Try the first course. Maybe just give me first course. In fact, I'm gonna probably pick up the book.